Welcome to Cover, day 132, and I'm glad you're with us here this morning. Looking forward to a good day with you today. Today we're going to begin reading in Nehemiah chapter number 9. Nehemiah chapter number 9, and I hope you have your Bibles out and ready to go. Now, on the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and with sackcloth and earth upon them. And the seed of Israel separated themselves from all strangers and stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers. They stood up in their place and read in the book of the law of the Lord their God 1/4 part of the day, and another 4th part they confessed and worshiped the Lord their God. Then stood up upon the stairs of the Levites Jeshua and Bani, Kadmiel, Shebaniah, Bunai, Sherebiah, Bani, and Chenani, and cried with a loud voice unto the Lord their God. Then the Levites, Jeshua and Kadmiel, and Bani, and Heshbaniah, Sherebiah, Hodajiah, Shebaniah, and Pethahiah, said, Stand up and bless the Lord your God forever and ever, and bless they the glorious name which is exalted above all blessing and praise. Thou, even thou, O Lord, art Lord alone. Thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their hosts, the earth and all things that are therein, the seas and all that is therein. And thou preservest them all, and the host of heaven worshipeth thee. Thou art the Lord the God, who didst choose Abraham, and brought him forth out of the the Chaldees, and gave him the name of Abraham, and founded his heart faithful before thee, and made us a covenant with him to give the land to the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and the Girgashites, to give it, I say, to his seed, and hast performed thy words, for thou art righteous. It did set the affliction of our fathers in Egypt, and heard us their cry by the Red Sea, and showed signs and wonders upon Pharaoh and all his servants, and all the people of his land, for thou knowest that they dealt proudly against them. So didst thou get thee a name as it is this day. Now didst divide the sea before them, so that they went through the midst of the sea on dry land, and their persecutors thou threwest into the deeps as a stone into the mighty waters. Moreover, thou leddest them in the day by day, a day by a cloudy pillar, and the night by a pillar of fire, to give them light in the way wherein they should go. Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai, and spakest with them from heaven, and gavest them right judgments and true laws, good statutes and commandments, and madest known unto them thy holy Sabbath, and commandest them thy precepts, statutes, and laws by the hand of Moses thy servant. And gavest them bread from heaven for their hunger, and broughtest forth water for them out of the rock for their thirst, and promised them that they should go in to possess the land which thou hast sworn to give them. But they and our fathers dealt proudly, and hardened their necks, and hearkened not to thy commandments, and refused to obey, neither were mindful of thy wonders that thou didst among them, but hardened their necks, and in their rebellion appointed a captain to return to their bondage. But thou art a God ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and forsookest them not. Yea, when they had made them a molten calf, and said, This is thy God, which brought thee up out of Egypt, and have wrought great provocations. Yet thou in thy manifold mercies forsookest them not in the wilderness. The pillar of the cloud departed not from them by day, to lead them in the way, neither the pillar of fire by night, to show them light, and the way therein they should go. Thou gavest also thy good spirit to instruct them, and withheldest not thy manna from their mouth, and gavest them water for their thirst. Yea, 40 years didst thou sustain them in the wilderness, so that they lacked nothing. Their clothes waxed not old, and their feet swelled not. Moreover, thou gavest them kingdoms and nations, and didst divide them into corners. So they possessed the land of Sihon, and the land of the king of Heshbon, and the land of Og, the king of Bashan. Their children also multipliest thou as the stars of heaven, and broughtest them into the land concerning which thou hast promised to their fathers, that they should go in to possess it. So the children went in and possessed the land, and thou subduest before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, and gave them into their hands with their kings and the people of the land, that they might do with them as they would. And they took strong cities and a fat land, and possessed houses full of goods, wells digged, vineyards and olive yards, and fruit trees in abundance. So they did eat and were filled and became fat and delighted themselves in great goodness. Nevertheless, they were disobedient and rebelled against thee, and cast thy law behind their backs, and slew thy prophets which testified against them to turn them to thee, and they wrought great provocations. Therefore thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them in the time of their trouble. When they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven. According to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them saviors, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, they did evil again before thee. Therefore leftest thou them in the hand of their enemies, so that they had the dominion over them. Yet when they returned and cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and many times didst thou deliver them according to thy mercies, and testified against them, that thou mightest bring them again unto thy law. Yet they dwelt proudly, and hearkened not unto thy commandments, but sinned against thy judgments, with which if a man do, he shall live in them, and withdrew the shoulder, and hardened their neck, and would not hear. Yet many years didst thou forbear them, and testify against them by the spirit of thy prophets, yet would they not give ear. Therefore gavest thou them into the hand of the people of the lands. Nevertheless, for thy great mercy's sake, thou didst not utterly consume them, nor forsake them. For thou art a gracious and merciful God. Now therefore, our God, the great, the mighty, and terrible God, who keepeth the covenant and mercy, let not all the trouble seem little before thee, that hath come upon us, on our kings, on our princes, on our priests, and on our prophets, and on our fathers, and on all thy people, since the time of the kings of Assyria unto this day. Howbeit thou art just in all that thou broughtest, for thou hast done right, but we have done wickedly. Neither have our kings, our princes, our priests, and our fathers kept thy law, nor hearkened unto thy commandments and thy testimonies wherewith thou testifiest against them. For they have not served thee in their kingdom, and in their great goodness that thou gavest them, and in their large and fat land which thou gavest before them, neither turned they from their wicked works. Behold, we are servants this day, and for the land that thou gavest unto the fathers to eat fruit thereof, and the good thereof, behold, we are servants in it. And it yieldeth much increase unto the kings whom thou hast set over us because of our sins. Also they have dominion over our bodies and over our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. And because of all this, we make a sure covenant and write it in our princes and Levites and priests, seal unto it. Chapter number 10. Now those that sealed were Nehemiah the Tirshatha, and the son of Hekeliah, and Zedekiah, and Zebariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Amariah, Malchijah, Hattish, Shebaniah, Malach, Harim, Meremoth, Obadiah, Daniel, Ginnath, Barak, Meshullam, Abijah, Mijam, Maziah, Bilgai, Shemaiah. These were the priests, and the Levites, both Jeshua the son of Azaniah, Benui the sons of Henadad, Gamliel, and their brethren, Shebaniah, Hodijah, Kelita, Pelalah, Hannah, Micah, Rehab, Hashbaiah, Zachar, Jerebiah, Shebaniah, Hodijah, Bani, Benayu, the chief of the people, Parosh, Pahathamoab, Elam, Zathu, Bani, Bunai, Asgad, Bebai, Adonijah, Bigvah, Aden, Ater, Hizkijah, Azar, Hodijah, Hashem, Bazai, Haripha, Ananoth, Nebiah, Magpiash, Meshullam, Hezer, Meshazabil, Zadok, Zadua, Pelatiah, Hannah, Ananiah, Hoshi, Hananiah, Hashub, Halohesh, Pilla, Shobek, Rio, Hashbana, Masaiah, and Ahijah, Hannah, Anna, Malach, Hiram, and Bana. And the rest of the people, the priests and the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims, and all they that separated themselves from the people of lands, unto the law of God, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding, they clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses, the servant of God, to observe and to do all the commandments of the Lord our God, and his judgments and his statutes. And that we would not give our daughters unto the people of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy out of them on the Sabbath, nor on the holy day, and that we would leave the seventh year in exaction of every debt. Also we made ordinance for us to charge ourselves yearly with the third part of a shekel for the service of the house of our God, for the showbread, and for the continual meat offering, and for the continual burnt offering of the Sabbaths, of the new moons, for the set feasts, and for the holy things, and for the sin offering, to make an atonement for Israel, for all the work of the house of our God. And we cast the lots among the priests, the Levites, and the people, for the wood offering, to bring it unto the house of our God, after the houses of our fathers, at times appointed year by year, to burn upon the altar of the Lord our God, as is written in the law, and to bring the first fruits of our ground, and the first fruits of all the fruit of the trees, year by year, into the house of the Lord. Also the firstborn of our sons and our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstlings of our herd and our flocks, to bring to the house of our God, unto the priests that minister in the house of our God, that we should bring the first fruits of our dough and our offerings, to the fruit of all manner of trees, of wine and oil, unto the priests, to the chambers of the house of our God, and the tithes of our ground unto the Levites, that the same Levites might have the tithes in all the cities of our tillage. And the priest, the son of Aaron, shall be with the Levites when the Levites take tithes, and the Levites shall bring up the tithe of the tithes unto the house of our God, to the chambers, into the treasure house. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring the offering of the corn, of the new wine, and the oil unto the chambers, where the vessels of the sanctuary, and the priests that minister, and the porters, and the singers, and we will not forsake the house of our God. That concludes day 182 of Cover to Cover. Look forward to reading with you tomorrow. Day 132 of Cover to Cover. We look forward to seeing and reading with you tomorrow. God bless.